part of this process is learning how to listen to your body and understand the things that it's telling you and to give it what it needs when it's telling you those things. Let's start by talking about when you are hungry. Now, if you have not been eating on a normal schedule, like you skip meals, you don't feel hungry super often, this is going to be hard for you because your body is not telling you to be hungry when it should be. And that's because you've probably been skipping meals or under eating for quite some time. So it's going to take time to get to a place where you can actually listen to the signs that your body is telling you. But the more that you get better at eating on a regular schedule and you're eating the amount that you're supposed to be, your body will start to tell you that it's hungry at normal times of the day. So when your body tells you that it's hungry, that means it's hungry. Don't ignore those cues. Don't avoid eating just because you think, oh, well, I ate, a few hours ago. I don't really need to eat again. Don't wait until you're ravenous because that's typically when we make poor choices. So don't try to force yourself to not eat when you're actually feeling hungry. Now we have to know the difference between being hungry and being bored or just craving something. And typically you know the difference. You know the difference between, oh my gosh, I'm really hungry, I need to eat, versus, oh, that sounds really good right now. But when you are feeling hungry and you're ready to eat something, ask yourself, what am I craving right now? What sounds good to me? What does my body need right now? Is it feeling like it needs some vegetables? Do I need some protein? Do I need some energy to get through my day? How am I feeling right now? Do I want something sweet? And think about how to combine what you need and what you want together. So that way you really feel satisfied with what you're eating. And part of this process is making peace with food, giving yourself permission to eat anything that you want within moderation, and get creative with stuff, because the truth is that you can pretty much find just about any recipe and tweak it to make it a little bit more nutritious. When you do choose food, eat slowly, be present, be satisfied, enjoy every single bite that you're eating. If you're eating with guilt, then that's not eating satisfied and that's not enjoying what you're eating. There should be no guilt around food. And you can take away that guilt when you are eating enough, you're feeling satisfied, when you're feeding yourself good things, and when you are doing everything in moderation. Because the truth is that eating something that's not the healthiest for you does not make you a bad person. You're still a good person. What you choose to eat does not change that. Last but not least, you may have heard that when you're hungry, you're probably just thirsty. And that's actually not true, because you can tell the difference between being hungry and being thirsty. They are different feelings. So don't try to force yourself to drink water to make that hunger go away. Pick something to eat. Eat something. You will feel better if you do that. Let's talk about cravings, because we all have cravings from time to time. Everybody has them differently, and that's okay. That is perfectly normal. The healthiest person in the world has cravings for things sometimes. So I want you to think about when you start having a craving for something. When is the last time that you gave into your craving and allowed yourself to have something outside of your nutritious foods that you would normally eat? And if you're giving into your cravings too often, then that's something that we have to talk about too. And we need to work on having a little bit more willpower and being a little bit more planned with our meals. And oftentimes when we're giving into cravings too much, we're not eating enough of the other foods. So making sure that we're hitting our macro goals and eating lots of nutritious foods is going to make us feel better and make us have less cravings. But when you do have cravings, it's okay to give into them from time to time. So I want you to ask yourself, do you have enough variety in your diet? Why are you craving something? Is it because you're bored? Is it because you're emotional and you're stressed? Or are you just hungry and it just actually sounds good to you? Willpower is not always going to be there, and we cannot rely on that. So you have to be able to determine when you think it's okay to give into those cravings and when it's not. And realistically, it's kind of easy to figure this out, because if you can incorporate your cravings into your macros for the day, then you're still going to be on track. Now, obviously, I always go by the 80-20 rule. 80% of our day should be nutritious, 20% we can leave room for those cravings. And if you allow yourself to give into these cravings from time to time, you're not going to feel as restricted. You're not going to feel miserable. You're going to feel more satisfied overall with everything that you're eating. And typically, we don't want to give into cravings when we are stressed or emotional because we are using that as a coping mechanism. And that's typically not the best way to go. But if we're just feeling like, oh, this sounds really good, I haven't had this for a while, it's not going to ruin my day, go for it. The key to giving into cravings is to do it in moderation and to not go overboard on portions. So when you say, okay, I'm going to have pizza today, I'm going to give into my craving and have some pizza. Eat a few slices of pizza, not the whole pizza, okay? Just because we're giving into our cravings does not give us a pass to just binge and overeat and just completely wreck ourselves, because that's not going to make us feel very good either. And you may have read in the past that if you're craving this, then that means you're lacking in a certain nutrient in another area. But that's not necessarily true. You could be eating all of the nutritious foods in the world, but you still have a hankering for a sweet treat at the end of the day. And like I said, I love food, I love sweets, I love salty things, and I have learned how to feed myself good foods, but also allow those things in moderation. Because the truth is we don't want to go the rest of our life without eating the foods that we love. So learning how to incorporate those foods into our life without going overboard, without completely wrecking ourselves is the key. So let's move on and talk about when you are full. And this kind of goes back to not going overboard on portions, because oftentimes when something's really good, we don't care if we're full. We just want to keep eating it because it tastes good. But there are things we can do to help overcome this. Eating slower gives us more time to identify when we're full and when we should stop. And maybe you grew up with the notion that you have to finish everything on your plate and you can't throw it away. But you don't have to live like that anymore. If you're full, you can stop eating. You can save the rest for later. Discover how to feel more satisfied with your food. If you're not feeling satisfied with your food, why? Why not? What can we change to make you feel more satisfied? Are you eating the same things all the time? Do you need to shake it up and have a little bit more variety in your diet? Are you feeling high energy? Are you feeling fueled for your workouts and getting through your day? Are you recovering from your workouts? All these things are affected by what you're eating. So we know what our daily macro goals are, and now we have a better understanding of how to be intuitive and how to listen to our body. So now we need to work on combining those things together. So we can try to hit our macro goals every single day, but we also need to learn how to listen to our body at the same time. Am I feeling satisfied from what I'm eating? Am I feeling hungry all the time? Am I feeling full all the time? What is my body telling me? And how can I interpret that and change that so I can feel better? And this takes time, it takes practice, and I'm going to continue to ask you and get feedback from you so I know how you're feeling, so I can make suggestions on what we should change. But the more you do this, the easier it gets. Pay attention to what your body is telling you. Don't ignore the signs that your body is telling you. We want to take care of our body, and our body will tell us what we need if we listen to it. Think about how you feel when you have a good day full of nutritious food. How do you feel? Do you feel accomplished? Do you feel full of energy? Do you feel strong? How do you feel when you overdo it on foods that you probably know you shouldn't have? Do you feel crappy? Do you feel bloated? Do you feel low energy? Do you feel guilty? Or do you feel satisfied? Have you figured out how to work in those cravings in a realistic, sustainable way? And these are the things that we need to focus on. This is what it means to become intuitive with your body.